Should you be coning up and down before you center your clay? In this video, I'm going to be talking about why you don't actually have to cone up and down in order to center your clay. This is Torres here, and I help potters to improve how their wheel thrown pottery is going to look like, and I may find out ways to make it easier. Now, before we start, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can know when my next video comes out. Now, should you be coning up and down? Now, a lot of potters would say that you should be coning up and down, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of videos on that. But is there actually proof that you should be coning up and down? I don't really see why you should. The reason why is because the whole thing with coning up and down is that it's only wedging your clay on the wheel, which is why if you do it before you start your centering, you're gonna not have to do the coning up and down. And a lot of times what happens is beginners don't know how to actually cone up and down. It's very difficult for beginners because they're not used to the whole flow of pottery yet. So the reason why it's hard is because they can't figure it out how to actually cone up and down and get it right. Now, coning up and down is a good skill to have, but I want you to save that for later when you are really trying to learn how to throw off the hump. And really that's pretty much it. If you're trying to learn how to throw off the hump, that's the only time I think you should be able to use coning up and down. Now, allow me to tell you a story. So during my first year of ceramics, I was taught pretty well by my ceramics teacher. He had been doing it for almost 50 years, and he never taught us to cone up and down. But I also never saw videos on it, so that's why I never coned up and down before. And then I started seeing other people's videos, and they were always coning up and down, so I was like, maybe I should try that. Maybe that's gonna make centering easier. But it turns out coning up and down is not very easy for beginners. So I kept on trying it anyways, but I had little success. And I finally just cut it out completely. And I make sure I wedge my clay now. I make sure I wedge it a lot before I even start to center my clay. And so I learned that you don't need to center your clay or cone up and down your clay in order to center your clay. That's just going to waste time, and it's going to take a lot more effort in order to cone up and down. So now, how do you center your clay? Well, it comes down to these few steps. The first step is you want to kind of slap center your clay towards the center. And you do that because it's going to really make your clay nice and smooth, and it's going to push it closer to the center. The second step is you want to scoot your chair closer to the wheel, and you want to be as close to the wheel head as possible. The reason why is because you're going to be able to brace better when you're actually centering. Now, the third step is keep your elbows in. Think like how you're kind of if you ever played sports, maybe if you're a wrestler or a baseball player, their elbows are always in when they're, especially for a baseball player, their elbows are in when they're trying to get a ground ball. So keep your elbows in, almost kind of like boxing in a way. Your elbows are in close to your body, and then you throw the punch. Now, the last step is to just kind of speed up the wheel and use moderately amount of water. Now let's head over to the wheel where I'll show you exactly how I do this. This first step I'm taking is slap centering. And I'm doing this because it's going to get the clay as close to the wheel as possible, and it's going to make centering a lot easier. Now, right now, as soon as I started centering, I scooted my chair up as close as I can to the wheel head. And now I am super close to the wheel head because this is going to allow me to brace better and keep control of the clay. You will also notice that my elbows are being braced against my legs and my hips. And I keep it like this the entire time I am centering. you'll notice throughout the rest of this video that my elbows are always locked in on my elbow or my hips, because this is going to help you stabilize the clay a lot better. The last step that you're going to notice is that I have sped up the wheel probably more than normal, and this is going to help with centering. And another good tip that you should know is that my hands are almost connected the entire time, so that you want to be aware of that.